Hello and welcome to Empowered Learning. In this video, we want to go through a few examples of how to draw a simple graph using Pearson's MyMathLab. So in this example, you see that we have the graph, well, the line y is equal to 1/8 times x, and we want to graph that. Of course, here they give us this graphing tool to use. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And so here, what we'll be using to actually graph this will be this particular icon here. Notice that this line tool has 2 points that are identified on it. And what that's telling us is that we are going to have to actually find 2 points to be able to graph this. And so I'm going to actually do this 2 different ways. I'm just going to cancel this for right now. And so the first thing that we need to do is to be able to identify 2 easy points that we can use. So I'm going to write this out. So we know that since we have the graph of y is equal to 1/8 times x, it would be wise for us to choose values of x that are multiples of 8. If we do that, that's going to give us nice, easy numbers to use for our x and y coordinates for our points. So here, if we let x equal 0, then y is just going to be 1/8 times 0, which is 0. And so that translates to the first point of 0, 0. If we now, let's say, let x equal 8, then y is equal to 1/8 times 8, which is the same as 8 divided by 8, which is just 1. So that gives us the point 8, 1 on our graph. So if we were to use this graphing tool and use the points 0, 0 and the point 8, 1 to be able to graph the line, it should graph the line perfectly for us. So that is what we're going to do. So we're going to turn my graphing tool off, and now we'll actually use those 2 points. So here, we're going to click on the graphing tool, and then as you can see up here in the corner, here's where our points are. So I'm going to keep going until I get to the point 0, 0. And then after that, I'm going to slide, go over 8, up 1. That's the point 8, 1. I save. And then, of course, I'm going to click and check my answer here. And you're going to see that it's correct. Okay? So that is one way to do this. Now, if you don't want to actually go through the whole thing of calculating the points, then what we could do instead is actually interpret the slope that we have here and use it that way. And so what I'm going to do is come up with a similar question. So we're going to use this one. And so what we need to remember here is that this is mimicking y is equal to mx plus b. And in this case, since we don't have anything after this first term here, we're assuming that the b is 0. Okay, so this automatically lets us know that we have a y-intercept that's at the origin. Okay. Now, the next thing here is interpreting the slope. We know slope is rise over run, or put another way, it's the change in the y values over the change in the x values. Okay. And so in this case, if we have a slope of -1/2, we can interpret that as either a -1 divided by 2 or as a 1 divided by -2. So what this tells us is that looking at it in this way, from the point 0, 0, we need to go down 1 unit, and then we need to go to the right 2 units. So down 1 unit, to the right 2 units to find another point on the graph. So if I had the point 0, 0 right here, and I went down 1 unit, And I know that's kind of hard to see here, but if I go down 1 unit here and then to the right 1, 2, my other point should be roughly right there. Okay. If I interpret this the other way, this says that I need to go up 1 unit and then to the left 2 units. So from the origin, if I go up 1 unit and then to the left 2 units, I should have a point right there, and my line should look something like this. Okay. No, it's not pretty, but that's what the line should look like. So with that, I'm going to use that way of being able to graph this line here. So I'm going to clear out all the writing, go to my graphing tool here, and I'm going to interpret my slope. Come here, click on this point, and let's say I want to interpret it as -1 divided by 2. So I'm going to click on the origin, because that's my first point, and then I'm going to go down 1 unit and then to the right 2 units, and that's going to be my line that's right there. Okay. Now, alternatively, I could also say from here, click on this, go up 1 unit and to the left 2 units. That would be the same line. Okay. So regardless if I go down 1 unit and to the right 2 or up 1 unit and to the left 2, I'm going to have the same line, which is going to be this line, y is equal to -1/2 x. And so with that, that's a way for you to be able to graph easy lines, especially ones that do not have a y-intercept that is on the origin of a graph. This is how you would use your Pearson MyMathLab graphing tool to be able to do that. So for our last example, we want to look at graphing a line where the y-intercept is not at the origin. And so again, we could do this 2 different ways. So the easy way to do this, and this without really having to write down anything, will be by basically clicking on this icon here. And notice that we have a -3 right here, which means that our y-intercept is at the point 0, -3. So we'll come here, click on this, and go to the point 0, -3, click on that. And then notice that our slope here is 2, meaning 2 divided by 1. Or if we translate that in terms of change in y over change in x, or rise over run, we would have to rise or go up 2 units in the y direction from this point 0, -3, and then go to the right 1 unit. So here, according to our slope, we go up 2 units and to the right 1, and then we click on that new point that's there, and that is how we get this line. Okay. Now, just to make sure that we're not going crazy here, I'm going to save this, and then we're actually going to write out some points here. So let's say we use when x is equal to 0. Of course, by definition, we know that whenever we say 2 times 0, that's going to be 0. And 0 minus 3 is just a -3. So that gives us the point 0, -3. And if we let's say x equals 1, then that gives us a corresponding y value here. 2 times 1 is 2. So 2 minus 3 is a -1. So that gives us the point 1, -1. And if you notice, this is the point 0, -3, and this is the point 1, -1. So we see either way, we get those 2 points. And so now you know how to do this if you needed to actually calculate what the points are, or if you just wanted to use the definition of the slope in terms of rise and run, and just kind of go from here, go up 2 units up 2 units and then 1 to the left. Either way, you'll get the same 2 points. And again, I'm going to erase this now. Once we're done with all of that, we can go and just graph it, and then we check our answer, and we'll see that it ends up being corrected. Okay. So with that, this concludes the video on graphing simple lines using Pearson's MyMathLab graphing tool. Hope this video helped. Take care.